Welcome to the JHS Excellencia series. And we have the 16th session today on JHS Excellencia series. And we are privileged and really honored to have with us today our expert faculty and speaker, Mr. K.K Mookhey with us, who's going to talk on the subject of generative artificial intelligence, risk and opportunities. Before we begin the session today, I would like to introduce my friend K.K Mookhey with all of you. Welcome, KK, and all the participants to this session. It's a very exciting session, and I'm sure that the deliberations would be of immense use to all of you. The topic of the day, generative AI, not only impacts us as human beings, but it is going to be having a profound impact on societies, corporates, regimes, countries, the globe as a whole, and I'm sure the talk would be very exciting from KK's side today. So let me begin by introducing KK. KK is the founder and CEO of Network Intelligence. He has begun his career in 2001, so almost 23, 24 years back. And the company that KK has founded has become a global company now with a team of over 600 consultants and has spread its wings across the globe. Uh, Major offices of network intelligence are in New York, Dubai, Mumbai, and Singapore. KK has been a trusted advisor, consultant, and a master trainer to several organizations across the sector and across countries on various aspects of cybersecurity. He is well versed with a number of security challenges across industry verticals, including international cybersecurity standards frameworks. KK is also an author of two books, one on Linux security and on Metasploit framework, and has contributed immensely in the global professional arena by writing several articles and thought leadership contributions, white papers, and conferences on the subject of cybersecurity, information security. Earlier on in his career, KK has presented at the Black Hat in 2004 on detection and evasion of web application attacks, and since then has been a celebrated speaker. We are really grateful to him for having agreed and accepted the JHS Excellencia invite. And this is the 16th session of JHS Excellencia invite. And I would welcome all of you again and would request you to hold on for your turn for asking questions. Please use chat box as much as you can and allow the speaker to speak for at least 45 to 50 minutes, and before he will kind of give you an indication as he's coming to an end, and the session will open up for question and answers, and that is the time I would request all of you to keep your mics on at that stage, and for the next 45-50 minutes while KK is taking his session, would request you to mute your mics. With this, I welcome KK and to take the session ahead. KK, over to you. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Zifa, for inviting me to present. This is a topic of great relevance to all of us. And, over the last few months, this is becoming like a raging issue. And coming from a cybersecurity background, this has huge implications for us on both sides. As the topic that you mentioned, the title that it has both opportunities and risks. So, folks, as Josefa said, please, we'll take a logical break in the flow, and at that time, I will look into the chat to answer your questions, or we can also look at it, to do a 10 minutes. So we'll see how the flow goes. So very interestingly, this is a topic on which I first presented in May of last year, May or June, May or June of last year. And obviously I have to update my slides because a lot has happened in 7 months. In fact, a lot tends to happen on a daily basis with AI. So I don't know if you guys ever get the feeling, but I often get the feeling that it's too much and too fast. And very funnily, I was reading a book yesterday, and there was a statement in the book which said that it was not related to AI. It's a kind of a self-help book. And in the book, he quoted somebody else who made a remarkable statement, and that statement has stayed with me, which said that the current pace of change in your life is the slowest that it will ever be. That means the pace of change is only going to keep increasing day by day. So if you feel, that there will be a time in our lives when things will settle down and life will become calmer, and the we will not feel so overwhelmed with the technology and innovation and developments, now is actually the slowest time in that journey. And then there is this concept of singularity, which says that innovation, the rate of innovation itself is exponential, not the innovation is exponentially increasing. The rate itself is exponential. That's why you see this steep hockey stick curve, and therefore every single trend that you see today, multiplied by 100x to imagine what the case is going to be, a year down the line. So, for example, when I made this talk, ChatGPT 4 had just come out, and DALI and Midjourney were producing some amazing images, and that's what was state of the art at that time. Today, we have reached a stage where we are talking about every company. We are building our own LLM. Many companies are building their own large language models. Ola came out with something. Fractal came out with something. So if you're sitting on a large data set, if a bank is sitting on a large data set, it is very logical to build a large language model on top of that data set. So and then ChatGPT, OpenAI has come out with something called Sora, which is creating these awesome videos. Now, these videos are today only 30 or 60 seconds long, but already people are talking about the death of TV and movies and Hollywood and Bollywood, obviously. AI is going to be able to create entire movies by the end of the year, right? So that's something I'm very certain is going to happen. In fact, most art, as I see it, will be very difficult to figure out if a human created this art or AI created this art, or human and AI came together to create this art. So as far as art is concerned, it's a tough future for most artists. Um, Even there was an interview of this guy Huang, who is the founder of NVIDIA, and he said that don't teach your children to write code because AI is already writing 60-70% code. And eventually, AI will be writing most of the code. Of course, the human has to prompt the AI properly and then review the code and make sure that it works. So coding knowledge is required for sure, but the huge amount of coding uh, talent that the world requires, that's going to change because AI will write the code. In security, we do something called code review, and um, so these code review tools, we check the code for security bugs using automated tools. So now these automated tools themselves are becoming AI enabled. So they can not only figure out the bugs in the code, they can write the remediation part, and they can go ahead and fix the code also. So imagine what developers will be doing going into the future, right? So now let's jump into the topic. So the agenda is just to give you a flavor of what's happening in AI. And as we move to the more interactive portion, I would love to hear how you all have been using AI. I'm sure all of you have explored with ChatGPT. Perplexity is another tool. Midjourney is another tool. So there are many interesting tools that are available for AI. Um, and I'll show you some examples of how I have been using ChatGPT as well. So these are just announcements that came out today. I just went online and looked at. I follow this guy on Twitter who puts out all the. So Mistral is a French company, and they create an LLM that is an open source LLM. So ChatGPT's LLM is not open source, but the Mistral LLM is open source, and they have benchmarking for all of the large language models in the world. So Mistral is beating all of them except GPT-4. So if you have enough hardware, you can just download Mistral. It's I think a 1 TB download or something, and you have your own LLM running. And what we are doing in our company, by the way, is that we are At this stage, we are taking OpenAI's LLM, which is OpenAI LLM, and on top of that, we are building a security layer. So the idea is that you can actually feed it questions and it will give you relevant security answers. So for example, we fed it a firewall configuration and fed it also the firewall security standards available and said, compare this configuration against the best practice standards and give us a report. And it actually produced a fairly decent report, not an amazing report, but 20-30% of what we would find it the tool, the GPT produced for us. So Mistral is actually an open source one. And as these versions get better, it's likely to also become a leader in this space, and it's free. It's open source. You can download and play with it. Google DeepMind unveiled Genie that can generate interactive video games from just a text or an image prompt. So entire video games are being created using AI. Figure is another company that has created a humanoid robot. So humanoid robots are coming soon, sooner than most of us will think that this is going to happen. Xiaomi showcased a new line of AI-infused phones. So one of the things that it can do is that it can take your photograph and create very professional portraits from it. Tyler Perry, a big studio boss, said that he had planned to do an 800 million film studio expansion, but after seeing OpenAI's Sora, he's put this plan on hold. So Hollywood is looking at a lot of job losses. In fact, last year they had a huge writers strike, which is precisely for this. I have a friend who makes YouTube videos, and he says he fired a scriptwriter last year because he said I can give the idea to OpenAI and it generates the script for me. So he doesn't need a screenwriter. So even in our marketing, for example, we produce a lot of content using ChatGPT, and I'll maybe show you some examples of that. This is a very interesting graphic. So when I did the presentation last time, this deck was of May and June, right? So at that time, the big news that had come out was Nvidia adding $150 billion to its market cap. Share price had reached $379. Company expected sales to reach $11 billion in the forthcoming quarter, which is 50% more than the high analyst projections, and stock price had jumped by 27%. Company's market value had hit 960 billion. This was May last year. Cut to today, Feb 28, they are at 787. So the share price has doubled in that period. Their single day surge, if you see over here, their single day surge is the world record today for $277 billion of market cap added. Revenue shot up 265%. Their revenue for this quarter is 24 billion, which they had predicted 11 billion for the last quarter. And then the next quarter, they've actually done $24 billion in sales. It's just it's unfathomable what's happening, right? So these are just some of the AI tools that you guys can also explore for productivity. I'm sure most of you use ChatGPT. Of course, if you are a Microsoft customer, you would get access to Bing AI, so you can just use that. Google Bard is there. For Mid-Journey, we have DALL-E, Mid-Journey, DALL-E 3, image generation. Voice and music generation is now AI enabled, so good good news for Anu Malik. And task project management tools are there. We use Fireflies for all our meetings, so it automatically creates the meeting minutes. You don't have to sit in. Then there are many of these are paid. Many of these are actually wrappers on top of ChatGPT, by the way. So they're not original, but they wrap. They basically are prompt engineering on top of ChatGPT. So, and the biggest productivity tool which somehow has not been mentioned here is Microsoft's Copilot. So Copilot can actually write your own, write presentations, respond to your emails and all of that. So it's getting really insane. Now, obviously, this brings a lot of risks. Let me see. Let me show you some examples of how I have been using ChatGPT in the recent past, just to give you an idea. So, we are trying to fix a lot of problems that I see in the organization, right? In terms of developing a better go-to-market strategy, improving our improving across all fronts. So one question that I asked was, for example, how do we win big enterprise contracts? So we wanted to move away from the so I gave it the prompt. I'm the CEO of a cybersecurity company. We want to start winning big contracts from the biggest clients in the markets. And this was actually during a sales meeting. So I had a sales meeting going on, and I said, please outline a strategy to win bigger contracts. So first he said, establish thought leadership. And how do you do that? Blah, blah, blah. Obtain certifications, leverage client testimonials, strengthen sales and marketing efforts, identify your target clients, go after them, tailor your mess. Now, when you read all of this, you feel obviously, but just to put it together in a clear, concise manner and give you the right, so develop strategic. So actually, we have done now a lot of this over the last few months, and so the great ideas through offer value-added services, etc. Okay, so this is the GAN it gave me, and I found it quite useful. There was another one which I'm looking for, growth strategy. So I said, for example, now I got better at prompting it. I said, you are an expert consultant from BCG, Boston Consulting Group. You've been tasked with developing the growth strategy for a cybersecurity services company that has been in business for 2 decades, doing 20 million in revenue. How should this company get to $50 million in 2 years? So it gave me some response. I said, OK, I understand diversifying services, I understand client base. And then it said optimize operational efficiency. So I said, boss, how do I optimize operational efficiency? So now it gave me the exact steps, ideas so around. Then I said, OK, now to properly showcase our various service lines, what are the specific points we should present to the customer? So again, it gave me some ideas over here. I'm not saying it's amazing or it's perfect, but it's a lot of brainstorming that you can do. It's almost like a personal coach or consultant, right? Then recently I've been asking it questions around. So there is now it. So I'm on a paid version of ChatGPT. It's $20 a month. So we have, for example, access to Gartner's research work. So Gartner has a document on cybersecurity metrics. So I said, ideally, I would like to also write a blog post on cybersecurity metrics. So I said, please summarize this document as a 500-word blog post. So it did something. It's not 500 words. Then I said, what are these 16? So, it can actually produce an entire. So here is a blog post. I said, navigating cybersecurity in the. So here is a blog post that it produced. OK. Now, I'm not saying it's perfect. Clearly, it's not, because the document contains 16 metrics and it keeps on putting out only 15. Okay, so somewhere the 16 metric is gone. So there is human intelligence required to bring accuracy into its output. But you can see that 16 outcome driven metrics. Okay, keep producing 15. And then at the end they have these actionable insights that document, so they produce that also. Then I wanted to do a blog post on cyber resilience. Okay. So I said, so here is where again prompt engineering is very important. So I said, write 100-word article on this, blah, blah, blah. And then it produced an article. I didn't like the article much. So then I said, OK, this is great, but go ahead and make these changes. Then it made further changes to the article. Then I took all of this output and then I did some additional research on my own and my article is ready. OK, so next time you see a very cool blog post on our website, especially if it's written by me, don't tell anyone, but chances are very high that much of the content came from ChatGPT. In fact, I said, you know what, I want a very cool image for this blog also. So I said, please create an image that I can put on the blog. So I said, create an image for a blog post on cyber resilience. So it created a nice image. Then it told me blah, blah, blah. It's a digital fortress in a stormy landscape, etc. And then here is the revised image resized to fit dimensions. Blah. So I got an image as well. Now I have to figure out how to create a graphic icon, which takes the content and creates like an infographic. So now there are apps to do that as well. And within GPT, you can explore more GPTs. So for example, again from my space, security. So we found some nice. So here is a cybersecurity incident assistant. Okay. So you can actually feed it a network log. You can give it a code base. You can tell them how to respond to security incident, analyze the code for maliciousness. So this is somebody's created a layer on, they created their own GPT on top of chat GPT. So this is just to give you a flavor of what's happening and the power of this generative AI. Okay, so now we'll go back to the deck. So now, obviously, folks, when we look at new technology and we look at, disruptive technology like this, it comes with risks. The biggest risk is what happens to our job. In fact, I fear my own job. A lot of my own job will probably vanish as the CEO of the company, but that's a topic for another day. But we really have to keep up with this pace. We have to keep leveling up with this technology. Otherwise, it's easy to become redundant, or at least parts of our work will get redundant. So, I mean, I don't want to scare you all, but in our security operations center, we started with a AI implementation of a tool from a company called Palo Alto last year, October, about 4 or 5 months back. And we have reduced our SOC team by half. So from 54 people, we are managing more clients with just 27 people today. So 27 people have, of course, we've not let them go. We are retraining them for the tasks that are still very human dependent. But that just tells you how powerful this AI automation can be. Folks, I'm very sorry. Just give me half a minute. I'll just be back. Yes, terribly sorry about this. So risks with the AI. Um, So I would say that there are two kind of categories of risks. One is general AI risks, which a lot of the industry is talking about. And one is with more focused on the domain that I belong to, which is the cybersecurity risks. AI risk in general, it can cause a lot of societal disruption. I'm sure many of you are aware of this term of deepfakes, where given a small snippet or even a photograph of yours, an entire video can be created of yours. In fact, there was a big financial fraud in Hong Kong where a CFO transferred something like $25 million after going on a conference call where this guy was an accounts head. On the call was a CFO, CEO, CO, and they were all fake. All were deep fakes, and he ended up taking that as an approval and transferring the money. So that day, my daughter and I were talking, and she said, "Papa, what if I get a call that from you or from Mama saying that come over here and I'm waiting for you. What should I do, etc." So these are very valid concerns that most of us need to now start thinking about. Um, of course, there are other risks. Fake news can spread dramatically. Especially with the power of video, where it becomes very believable that such and such person actually said such and such thing, right? So those are bigger, and then a lot of our decisions could be driven by AI, by these deep fakes. You may look at a deep fake thing and take a critical decision based on that. It may be a business decision, it may be a personal decision. So these are also the risks that we have to think about. But today we are going to look more at in terms of the cybersecurity risks. So the kinds of risks that we are seeing when it comes to AI. First, as I said, deepfake, where completely fake fraudulent content is getting created it's almost impossible to differentiate between, earlier back in the day, we used to have morph photos. Now we have morphed videos. And obviously, most of us tend to believe when we see a video versus a photograph. Photograph, we may still see looks, signs of something is incorrect or whatever. But with a video, it looks very, very believable. And then the other piece is that you can actually attack an AI-enabled technology. So there's a hand. So yeah, go ahead. Please ask your question. Whoever has raised their hand. So maybe by mistake.
I think it's by mistake, KK. You can go ahead.
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah, sure. So and then use of AI is very heavily happening by the bad guys. Okay, so cyber attackers, cyber criminals are heavily using AI. In fact, I'm sure you must have seen that the phishing emails you're getting are looking much more believable than they used to look back in the day. And this is again only going to get worse. The other thing that you can do is data poisoning attacks on the AI models. Like you can, because AI depends on the quality of data. The data is unclean, all your analysis will also be biased or problematic. So if I can influence the data as part of my attack, then I can mess up with your AI model itself. And then you'll have to go back to the drawing board and retrain, and a lot of what you've done would be a problem. For example, with Google now, there is this big issue of I don't know if you've been following it, but Google's AI, when you ask it to produce an image of something that should clearly be belonging to, or that image should portray a white person, it shows, because of all the diversity philosophy within Google, it actually shows people of color. So for example, if you say show me a photo of a founding father of, show me the founding fathers of US, it actually shows a black person, a native Indian person, a Hispanic person, and stuff like that. So people are like, what? So that's one other example of where the AI model is malfunctioning. And then you could also try and extract the workings of the AI model. Okay. You could also try and extract data by manipulating the AI model. Suppose somebody is running an insurance chatbot and it's supposed to only answer questions related to your policy. What if I could manipulate that chatbot to answer questions about somebody else's policy, or give me information about its own internal workings, which it is not supposed to? So this kind of adversarial attacks can happen on AI models. So when we are doing the AI development, when every company is developing, so they should follow risk management principles within the AI lifecycle. So the first is to ensure that during development, data poisoning is not happening. So there should be a lot of focus on how and what data is being fed into the model itself, and when it's being trained and retrained, etc. Then when you deploy it, you have to monitor for what is called model deterioration or model shift. That means that the model was supposed to answer questions of A type or achieve A objective. It was supposed to give you better insights into your customer behavior, or it was supposed to be a customer response, a CRM chatbot, or whatever it was. Is it drifting away from that focus? Is it ending up answering or doing things which you had not intended for it to do? So this can also happen over time. It has to be monitored. And then model misuse, like I said, feeding it information to extract sensitive information about other customers or the entire database. Data misuse, the data itself, because this is a big data problem. You could also hack into all of that data. So all of these are challenges, that risks that have to be addressed as we develop the AI technology. So this is another way of looking at it, in terms of what is the threat vector, where is the threat coming from, what type of damage can be caused, and what would be the risk management measures. So when we look at human elements, they can they can cause error, social engineering, theft of data, actual financial loss can be caused, intellectual properties can be stolen, etc. System faults, querying attacks, and of course malicious inputs or perturbations, which is to change the behavior of the model to create data poisoning or data drift. So these things can happen. So this comes from Gartner's research in terms of how AI risk should be managed by enterprise customers. And believe you me, many large enterprise customers already have launched big initiatives into AI. So the way to go about it, if you're going to be advising a customer or advising an organization, first is to capture the extent of exposure. So first create an inventory. Where all is AI in the organization? What all AI is being used? How much of it is our own? How much are we using third-party tools? How much are we using APIs? OpenAI, for example, has an API. How much are we using the APIs from there? So first create an inventory of where all is AI being used in the organization. Second, awareness is extremely important. So Gartner actually did a study where they carried out a survey among cybersecurity professionals and their understanding of AI risk. And it was minuscule, like less than 1% of cybersecurity professionals were able to articulate what is the risk from AI. So therefore, one of the ideas that they came up with was that it is better to make the business teams who are doing all this AI work more aware about cybersecurity risks. So drive staff awareness across the organization, across IT, etc. Focus a lot on data protection and data privacy because you're going to be hoarding in gigabytes and terabytes of data to create these large language models, as the name suggests, large. Obviously, you have a lot of data at play. So you have to focus a lot on identifying that data, classifying that data, protecting that data, etc. Okay. And then, of course, the model itself. So you must ensure that the model is thoroughly tested for reliability, trustworthiness, security, etc. And that is done by managing the risk within the operations of the model itself. Adopt specific AI security measures against adversarial attacks. So there is a list of attacks. This is from another organization called WASP. So they've created a list of top 10 attacks that you can do on LLMs. So make sure that you do that. These are other approaches for data privacy and security. You mask the data while still making sure it is relevant. Create synthetic data. Differential privacy, have different controls for different levels of data that you have in the organization. These are different measures that you can take to protect these large data sets. So folks, that's at a high level what I wanted to share with you. Um, of course, there's content from elsewhere and I can share, but if you have any questions, we can now open it up for the chat. So feel free to please ask your questions.
So, KK, there are a couple of questions in the chat box.
Yes.
I would request you to just check the chat box.
So Huzefa Kaka is asking, few countries are banning use of AI. Which countries are banning use of AI? I haven't heard of. In fact, I just read an article, saw Singapore government saying Dubai has a ministry of AI. UAE has a ministry of AI. Singapore is heavily promoting AI adoption. I mean, AI cannot be banned. It's how will you ban AI? It's everywhere. It's in your Windows laptop. If you have Windows, Microsoft, Windows 10, 11, Copilot is there with Windows 11 now. Banning will not happen. EU has come out with an AI Act, which talks about responsible AI. It talks about what AI models will be used. And how do you categorize the risk of AI? And there in that act of the 4 categories of AI, some AI is considered high risk. That they've said will be banned, that we will not allow. So, and they've defined what do they consider as high risk. So certain AI models will get banned, certain AI applications, AI delivered powered applications will get banned or blocked, but definitely not AI per se being banned, because I mean it's in your phones, it's in your laptop, it's everywhere, right? It's very pervasive. India is talking about some rules or norms or regulations around AI, so we expect to see something. But otherwise, I don't. This is impossible. This train has left the station already. The second question was the regulatory framework. So, Tahir, as I said, there is an EU AI Act. We have done a blog post on this, which was not written by me, so it is not ChatGPT generated. I can guarantee you that one of my team members actually studied the act and wrote the blog post. So please read it or go and read the original EU AI Act itself. And I'm sure other countries will come out with similar regulation themselves. NIST, a new framework has come out just now, today or yesterday, but I don't think that it is talking about AI per se. Um, but AI risk management frameworks, AI, LLM testing models, there is a lot of material that is coming out now. I don't think NIST has a framework. ISACA might have something. I have not searched on the ISACA website. But these risk management frameworks, like I said, Gartner has it, etc. Um, so these are now coming into place. How should we safeguard against deep fake images? This is a big problem. As I told you, I was having this conversation with my daughter, and I said that we don't have answers to all the problems yet. And it's going to get so sneaky. So to her, I said, if you ever face a message, if you ever receive a message like that, because she has an iPad now that she uses in school, and she chats her mother on the iPad. So I said, if you ever receive a message that looks like it came from mama, or that has a video of her, please call one of us or go to an adult in the school and then call before you proceed to take any steps based on just such a video. So I think that is on us, that responsibility to make our family members more aware. So same thing I told my parents, if you see a video from me, or you receive a WhatsApp, don't believe that it is coming from me. So I think right now the main thing that we can do is spread awareness. I don't think that we have any technical or technological controls to safeguard against deepfake. Where do you see India in the AI sector? Uh, so India is making a lot of noises for sure, but I'm not sure. I think there is movement happening in most large organizations to do something using AI. I feel that it will come in a flood. Of course, US is leading. As I said, in the Middle East, UAE has created this Ministry of IT. In fact, I was there for a week meeting different customers, and every single customer had only one question. As soon as I started talking about our pen testing and our SOC and all these capabilities, they were like, KK, but wait, what are you guys doing around AI? Please tell us that. So they were very curious to know how we are aligned on AI. What are our initiatives around AI? And almost every single 9 out of 10 conversations was on that topic. Saurabh has a great question. In order to stay relevant in AI developments, what are the reliable sources from which we can learn? So as I said, I'm like this frog in a well, right? My perspective is largely limited to cybersecurity. So I have subscribed to a newsletter from a security expert, Daniel Messler, who releases a newsletter only on AI and cybersecurity. Twitter, or X as it is known, is a great source of information. So you can just search for AI updates, AI experts. You can track people who work for OpenAI. You can follow people like Sam Altman and others. You'll NVIDIA, these companies you can follow. So updates you'll get from there. This update I got is from a guy called Ronald Chung. Give me 1 second. I'll put his handle over here. So Aparna has a great question. How would AI impact HR? Everything, right? In terms of evaluating resumes, for example, that would get automated. Uh, um, HR help desk. Already, in fact, I was at a customer location in Integrion, and they have created an HR chatbot. So you have questions on the policies, procedures, HR norms, etc., leave, blah, blah, blah. Instead of sending an email to your HR contact, you just go to the chatbot and it answers all the questions for you. So when you think of it, an AI will come up with some capability in that segment. Um, and once you're in the realm of creating videos and uh, content, even employee engagement will happen using Gen AI. So there are multiple applications. I haven't thought much about this question, Aparna, to be honest. But I'm sure if you Google, you'll find how people are implementing AI for HR as well. Financing functions, I do have some answers, Satish. Again, if you see people on Twitter, you can actually feed an entire Excel spreadsheet to ChatGPT. I haven't done that, but I've seen use cases where people have uploaded Excel spreadsheets and told ChatGPT create the trends for me. or tell me what insights do you get from this balance sheet, or from this P&L account, or from this invoice register, all. So you should try out all of these ideas and use cases and see how well. But don't blindly rely on chat GPT output, but that these tools are getting much and much smarter all the time. In fact, I have signed up for a course next week on using Gen AI within Excel and PowerPoint. So some guy was put out an ad on YouTube, and I said, what goes, let me try. So I've signed up for this course. I will have better answers for you if you meet me after I've done this course. But you can also sign up for the same course. There are multiple courses on how to use AI within Excel and PowerPoint. At the back end, it's all OpenAI powered, by the way, because Microsoft is the biggest investor in OpenAI. No? So at the back end, it's Excel integrated with the OpenAI. So audits, like when we do PCI or compliance audits, we review a lot of evidences. AI, we've actually done this. We've actually fed a network diagram to ChatGPT and said, please analyze this network diagram from a security perspective. And it actually does a pretty decent job of that. So we fed it high level and low level diagrams of HLD and LLD documents of application software and said, please do a security review of these. And it does that, So finance as well, I audit a lot of audit work, a lot of documentation review work, evidence review work. Gen AI can do it. In fact, today, I was reading that this is the news. Into if you have today's Economic Times on page 18, there is an article which says UAE's largest firm adds an AI-powered observer to the board. Abu Dhabi's international holding is adding an AI-powered observer to its board, a move that the $238 billion firm said will help make human board members make better strategic decisions. So there you go. When I said a CEO will get replaced or I might get replaced, already it's happening. The unusual initiative backed by Emirati AI company G42 and Microsoft Corporation deepens Abu Dhabi's push into AI. The UAE wants to become a global leader in testing and regulating AI, a minister had said earlier this month. Nikhil, I know we could ask this of ChatGPT, but what are the top 3 to 5 things you would recommend JHS to adopt or learn from AI? So I cannot advise JHS, but I can tell you what I have told my company, right? I have told every single department, ki boss, please go and look for AI enabled automation to be done within your departments and come back with ideas. You do the research, HR, admin. On my technology side, so it is inevitable. I'm pushing AI very hard, AI enabled adoption very hard within each of our departments. So what we have done, we have identified a single core AI powered technology, which we have bought some licenses of, and we've started deploying it within each of our practices. So when we do pen testing, we have a license from a company called Tenable One. On our SOC, we have licenses, and some of these are significant investments. But like I said, with this, I'm happy to share with you. We made an investment of something like 1.7 crores in a Palo Alto technology. It's a 3-year investment. So let's say we are investing 60 lakhs a year, approximately we are spending on that technology. And through that technology, as I said, my SOC has come down from 54 to 27. So 27 headcount has moved out of my SOC. And if you do the math, even if you take, just for calculation's sake, average of 10 lakhs of CTC for 27 people, it's a massive saving, right? Against the 60 lakh investment, it's a 2.7 crore saving at the very least. So that's an impetus that has told the other teams ki boss, adopt AI, because this is where the world is moving. So I would say that, and each of you should also look at how you can use AI. My marketing team, for example, they use ChatGPT heavily to produce content. Most of my team members write amazing emails. When I see the email, I know it's ChatGPT because it'll be like so long. So I've started telling my team, ki boss, please tell second prompt to ChatGPT is tell them to make that email concise. Otherwise, ChatGPT just goes on and on. Put so much verbiage around it. ऐसे यार इतने लंबे लंबे ईमेल मत लिखो यार, कौन पढ़ेगा? सो आई नो कि वो पूरा चैट जीपीटी का कंटेंट आया हुआ है. but it helps you write better emails, right? You don't make any mistakes. You can put the tone also. You can tell it that please use um courteous or professional or assertive tone. So it can use that tone also. Okay, so the one of the final, so NIST has an AI risk management framework, right? Great. Uh, may I know? So this is in response to Munish, your question. May I know which is best AI risk mitigation website? Like I said, so as your colleague has answered that there is a NIST AI risk management framework. There is OASP top 10 for the more technical testing of AI models, and the EU has provided the legal framework for AI, at least for the EU region. Are there any AI tools that can aid in improving audit quality? So again, unfortunately, my domain cybersecurity, we have evaluated cybersecurity compliance and auditing tools which use AI. So we've looked at a tool called Scrut Automation that can actually give you a real-time picture of your compliance status, and it can review your So one of my clients, a bank in Dubai, they told me that one of the use cases they did was they are operating in 14 countries. So they took all the financial regulator cybersecurity regulations from MAS, Singapore, from Dubai, NISA, from Saudi, etc. And they fed all of that into their LLM, and then they fed their entire policy set into the LLM. And they said, please do an analysis of all our policies against all of these regulations and tell us if there is a gap, if we are non-compliant or below the requirement or above the requirement, etc. And boom, you got the reply. Um, as I told you, we've done this for firewall configurations. We've done this for network diagrams. So you should like run a hackathon in your company, and that's what again we are also doing the same thing. So take a commercial subscription of Chat GPT Plus, which will give you access to the programmatic interface of Chat GPT, or just use the commercial $20 a month Chat GPT, and that gives you the option to upload. So you can actually upload content onto Chat GPT and um, feed it some evidences, non-confidential evidences, um, and see what it says. Maybe feed it information from your own company, like we fed it our own network diagram, etc. So I am not actually able to use the chat. I cannot put a chat message. But to answer your earlier question of who you can follow, just one of the people that I follow on AI is a guy called Rowan Cheung. So it's Rowan, Rowan. I'll just share the screen to make it easier. So this is the guy I follow, Rowan Cheung. There are many like him. Once you follow one, then it will suggest others, right? So, in fact, today's news I took from him. That presentation news I taken from at that time. And just now, the first post in my feed is this one. We're stepping into a new reality, introducing Emo, a groundbreaking AI that creates expressive portrait videos from just an image and audio. So just from this image, it's able to create this whole. So yeah, I think you get the picture and the video of where this all is going. Excel has GPT, so does it always read if activated and pass our data to Microsoft? So that's a great question. One should be concerned about the privacy of the information that you put into these open platforms. So if you are a Microsoft licensed user, at the back end, GPT is all integrated into Copilot, into Bing, into Excel, into PowerPoint, blah, blah, blah. How much are you going to protect? But Microsoft and OpenAI have come up with a very well-defined privacy policy. So they're saying we are taking none of your data to train our models. Our models are trained already. So we are not using your data to further train the model. Okay, so they are not actually taking your data and ingesting it into the model and helping the model improve. They're not doing that because they don't know actually the quality of your data. So they use it to process it, give you the response, and then that's it. So in my view, one should take that trade-off. In fact, you remember 5, 6 years back, we used to go to customers and say cloud, and they was like, no, 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 we never adopt the cloud. Same conversation they're happening on AI today. 1 year down the line, they will all have adopted AI. So it's inevitable. Concerns are valid, but they will get overridden. Business will see so much benefit. Boss. As a business owner, I can tell you I see so much benefit. No, so in fact, any endpoint security product again sends all the data to the cloud. We don't have antivirus now. No, we have what is called endpoint detection and response (EDR). It's all cloud driven. All this, even today, like my laptop right now has a component called Windows Defender. All your laptops have Microsoft Defender. All of the information from my machine is through Defender is going to the Microsoft cloud. What processes are running, when do I log in, what applications are used, what's installed. All of this data is going to the Microsoft cloud that they're using to train their model better, by the way, because it's their agent capturing high quality data. So, yeah. Great. I hope you all had a useful 1 hour. I hope that you found this session fruitful and gave you a food for thought. And I hope I didn't scare you too much that AI is going to take away our jobs. If you're a parent, I would also ask you to think as I am thinking, what direction should we give our kids now?
True, true.
So
It
that's
was
also
a
a good question to ask.
big
Yeah.
question. No, KK, it was really a very, very informative, highly informative session. And the awareness that you created today evening was just simply amazing because we've got parents, we've got students, we've got professionals, we've got, people from, all sets of our society attending this session. We had about 75, 80 people. And I think the learnings that came out were immense for professionals. The message is loud and clear that start using AI in your professional tasks to bring in efficiency. You mentioned about policy benchmarking, you mentioned about compliance, regulations, and when you have such a nice tool to use and to benefit from, I think the saying that we need to keep on sharpening our axe with a chat
Hmm.
GPT tool. I think we no more need to do that kind of sharpening, where you have a guided, map in front of you, like a Google map. So amazing insights you mentioned about, the developments in cyber security and the tools that are available and how effectively NII has started using AI. Across various functionings of your organization, including the automated code reviews, etc. And as a CEO, I must appreciate that you spoke so honestly. In fact, you opened up your chat GPT and displayed the kind of querying you do to chat GPT was quite informative. And of course, you alarmed us on, the various risks. And it was very intriguing to see your slide on, the various stages of AI risks, right from data poisoning to deployment to running of the AI, etc. So our deep gratitude to you and a very warm vote of thanks that I would request all my team members, although we are apart by distance. I'm not sure whether you'll be able to hear the noise that we make in our office, but I would request all my colleagues present in the office to give you a very round, warm vote of thanks and really much appreciate the insights that you have shared with us today, KK. And with your permission, if you agree, then whatever video recording we've done of the session, we can share with the participants. And or if you'd like us to edit any parts of it, we would request you to have a look at it, because I'm sure most of the participants would come back with a request of
Hmm.
your video recording of this session. So take a look at the recording and either the session or the slides, whatever you wish that we share with the participants, we could do that.
Yeah, I think it's okay. I am just going over some of my chat GPT chats, if it contains something very if it
Yeah,
reached
yeah,
a larger audience, maybe just that section, if you
yeah,
can edit
yeah,
out,
yeah.
that should
We
be
can,
fine.
sure, we'll do
Ah,
that. So we'll send you the recording, and then you
okay.
can take this, and after that edits, we can put it, somewhere on general viewing.
Great. Great.
So
Great.
thank you so much, and thanks to everybody for having joined this wonderful session.
Thank you.
Once again, a lot of gratitude and thanksgiving to KK for this superb session, KK. And I'm sure that in a
Uh,
year's time, we'll invite you again back with more
I'll
developments
have to
on AI.
redo the entire deck by then.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
everyone.
It was
Thanks,
a pleasure.
KK. Bye. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.